back to England, but you see, it didn't quite end there. But I think that that they should tell their own story. But I want you to give a really big round of applause to Akeel, who will introduce the other two that are here as well.
Honestly, only came here for a free dinner. It's happened in Manchester as well, and I've had to talk and earn the food. But okay, obviously we joined the convoy and we joined all the brothers and sisters, all the people that were there, and I think we all became like family. I think one of the hardest things for me was when we had to kind of like say goodbye, and that was the first time in many years that I myself have cried and seen other brothers crying, because that was one of the hardest things to do. But alhamdulillah, this was what was written for us. But kind of leading up to that, it had been arranged by the Libyans that the Egyptian border control would come into our hotel and stamp our passports and give us our visas, so everything should have been smooth when we got to the border. But as I drove into the border myself, and I didn't actually drive because my vehicle had broken down, so I was on the back of a trailer and I was sat with my feet up, and I saw one of the brothers being taken away by one of the border guards. So I to make sure it was okay, and the brother's not here today, Shams had been, and he looks quite, they're just wanting to ask him questions about his passport. I mean, I handed in my passport, and next thing I know I saw this guy getting dragged away, and there was nobody there to like witness it, so I went up and I grabbed the first team leader that I could find, and we went to go and try and find this guy, and he just disappeared, and none of the Egyptians were telling us anything as to where they were. So it took us to say British Embassy, and that's when they started talking, oh, go and see that person over there. We went there, they said, go and see that person over there. So I said, okay, I'm going to go and get my radio and see if I can get in touch with Kevin or some of the other team. But as that happened, I saw another guy being taken. So I followed them into this back room, and lo and behold, there was Mustafa there was Shamsuddin, there were about 4 or 5 brothers that were being like, kept there and being pushed from pillar to post and told to go to this office and that office. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go make my do. I'm going to go and get my passport, and I'm going to stay with these brothers. But when I went to get my passport, there was a man waiting for me saying, right, you come with me as well. So I thought, subhanAllah, man. This guy was a young guy, this guy didn't smile, man, and I was trying to explain to him in English as best I could, you know, that to smile is a son of the Prophet ﷺ, and it's a sadaqah, and this guy just didn't smile at all. So I knew that we was going to be in for a hard time, so they took us through. And we just sat there, and we just recited Quran to keep our nerves to know we were calm, and the officials there were listening, and we were talking to them, and we were having a laugh with them, and then they took us upstairs and filled out paperwork, and it just, as far as I could see now, they were just delaying us, because what they were doing in the meantime, all the convoy was being processed and sent away. And nobody really knew that we were there except for one vehicle, and that vehicle waited for us with about another 3 vehicles. So obviously at the time we didn't know that, no one told us what was happening. We'd been through trials and tribulations getting up to that point. We knew that Allah was with us, whatever happened, so we were calm in that respect. But when one of the chief of police came down and shouted at the guys because they made some mistake, and it was then that Mustafa heard them say, these guys are going back to Libya. And that's when we got a bit annoyed, because it kept us there all the time. I mean, I had no money on me, no nothing, we were just there alone. So I said to the guys, okay, they're pointing me as near me, I don't know why, because I just wanted to, you know, damage these guys. I wasn't thinking about anything nice, I wanted to hurt these guys, so I wanted to get back to the convoy and finish off this mission. And they tried to take us and put us in outside. They had like a vehicle, like a police paddy wagon. And it wasn't, you couldn't sit down, it was like when we stood up and the windows were broken. And I said to the brothers, listen, we're not getting in that vehicle no matter what happens. And they tried to cajole us in there and tried to convince us that it's going to be okay. I said, I don't care, we're not getting in the vehicle. And I don't think they knew how to handle us. So I think that normally these people, they say things and people jump. But I don't think they've ever experienced Mancunians before. I think that was a shock to their system. So eventually, I think the convoy, they sent 2 negotiators for us, and it kind of got sorted out that we had to go through this other office to negotiate, do some more paperwork, and we did this, and we were demanding that we wanted to go back to our vehicles so we could at least go and get our clothes and our money and our belongings. but they were just delaying us. And eventually when we actually got there, all the vehicles had gone except for these 4 vehicles, so that was quite distressing. So, alhamdulillah, we had to go back to the border. They dropped us off, said goodbye, and just as they left, there was 4 like young Egyptian guys who came up to us, and they were saying, they obviously weren't official, they were saying that they were very sorry that we were being sent back, and at the time, I didn't think they were sincere, and I was very angry with them. I mean, all the time I was making dua against them. And when I crossed the border, my mind changed. I thought that these guys were really sincere, because in their eyes, they were very sad and they were very upset, whereas other people weren't too bothered. So, I mean, what we have to try and do is we have to try and always have forgiveness in our hearts, because these people, they're in a regime where they have to follow orders. And if they don't follow orders, then bad things can happen to them. So I just ask Allah that those people who are sincere amongst them, that He forgives them, inshallah, He gives them
Amen.
Amen. And those ones who are not sincere, that He gives them their deserves, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. So anyway, we've gone back to the border with Libya, and the Libyan guards, they were shocked as to why the Egyptians had sent us back, but there's no logical reasons why. We told them we had no money, we had no belongings, and they were very good. They phoned the chief of police, they took us to his house, he sat down, he gave us some tea, he let us watch football. He summoned 2 of the representatives from the Gaddafi Foundation and instructed them that they had to go and negotiate to get us back on the convoy. He then phoned up the owner of the hotel next door and said to them, these people are my guests for as long as it takes to get it sorted out. So alhamdulillah, we had a nice bed, showers, had food, had people looking after us. I mean, the people, although we were technically under house arrest, we couldn't leave the hotel alone, and whenever we went out there was armed guards with us. They were our friends. They took us to go see some of the local sites, and then eventually when we realised that we weren't going back on the convoy, they arranged for us to get a, in inverted commas, a lift, which was basically a police escort to Benghazi airport, and then we were put onto a flight from Benghazi to Tripoli. Now all the way along they were saying that, don't worry, everything's paid for, you're going to get, when you get to Tripoli, you're going to get a hotel, and you're going to get your flight home. When we actually got to Tripoli, we kind of like got off the plane and we were taken through a special route, flanked by loads of plainclothes police that weren't supposed to be police, and taken, right, this is where you're sleeping. So I think that was my limit, and I said, right, that's it. You told us a hotel, Fondue, I want a hotel, I'm not staying here. They had chairs, and the chairs were made of metal. I thought there's no way that I can sleep on them. I'm knackered, but I'm not sleeping on there. And then they all tried to talk around it, talk around this, talk around that. Eventually, they said we could sleep in the masjid. And one of the brothers, Mustafa, he said to the guy, no, just in case we need to make ghusl in the night, we need a hotel so we've got a shower. And I think he might have upset the guy, because he said to the guy, he asked the guy, what about ghusl? And he says, oh, just do tayammum. And Mustafa said to him, listen, don't speak because you have no knowledge. And he got a bit upset, and so then he walked off and he said to one of the guys, don't give them the key to the masjid. So we had to sleep on like a hard table. But alhamdulillah, you know, what we've been through really is nothing, because the people of Palestine and Gaza, they suffered for over 60 years, and so for us to face a little, it's not even hardship, but we've got a roof over our head, we've got food, we had people who were on the convoy who were concerned for us. You know, when we phoned the convoy, spoke to Sheikh Zahir there, and he told us that all the brothers and sisters are ready to stop the convoy, the Libyan drivers were ready to turn the convoy around. So when you hear that kind of thing, it really grabs your heart, really lets you know that you've got a family out there. And this is what this convoy was. Towards it was a family. I look at everyone here, and it's like a family reunion, and I hope that now we've come back and we've succeeded in the mission, that my momentum doesn't stop, because the issue is still there. So Viva Palestina needs to sit down with people who are ready to help organise and get this on again, and this time make it bigger. And after that time, get another one and make that one bigger.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.